Again, I apologize for the low-tech nature of this. I wasn't really planning on making this, but someone asked about it, so I want to go ahead and do it. Here we have 3 of the 8 mags I modified. Now, one of the bonuses with these mags is they are cheaper than the standard 7 balls. These cost about $15 each, whereas these cost 10 each, and they hold 1 extra ball. Downsides, in case you didn't know, is there is no locking follower. It has a very nice detent, but the problem is that it doesn't lock on the bottom. Bonus is easier to clean because you don't have to have as many pieces pushed back in afterwards. Downside, if you're on a very hot day and you have very gentle paint or fragile paint, it will dent it after a while. But I found using graffiti on a normal day that no stronger than this follower pusher is, that I don't really have a problem with it. And I also haven't had any problems with them shooting out either. Again, this is a pretty good detent. If I sling it as hard as I can get a couple balls to come out usually. But I don't really want to do that. Now, people have asked how I've modified these, because as you know, Milsig made these so they could not fit into a TPX. Well, you can see the marks on the front of it right here. What I did is I took a orbital sander. You can use whatever you want, but orbital sander is the fastest thing I had. You can probably use a belt sander or whatever else too. So I took an orbital sander and I used about 60 grit to start with, and then I went to smaller grits to kind of smooth it out, followed by some that's really fine paper, just to make it smooth. And what I did is I just ground it down. You can see where this whole front edge has marks from being ground down. It used to be square from about here on, and that would be where it would catch on the mag well. So I ground it down, and it's not the prettiest thing in the world. I mean, I didn't intentionally set out to make it beautiful, so I did go all the way down basically. And it's not as shiny as the other part, as the size or anything like that, but I'm not too worried about it. They work well. They don't eject by themselves. I would have to grind down the sides a bit to make that work, but I'm okay with it as is. I mean, I had to pull out the other mags too. I was asked, Reaper and a few other people asked me about how I made the detents. Now, if I was going to be more scientific about it, what Twitch did, or Stitch did for Outcast, is he used calipers to find out where it was at. What I did was a little bit different. I held 2 mags together, and I went to see about where that follower would be at, as far as how far up. What I did is, if you see closely on here, you can see there's a mark that the detent, no, the trigger, the mag release leaves here. So what I did is I went just a little higher than the end of it, and I grounded it out. And I didn't make it as pretty as I could have, but you know, it works really well. It's not going to go anywhere. You can see that in my first mag that I did, I kind of went too far. That's because I stabbed through it with the pick when I was trying to square out the edges before I decided to try the Dremel. I carved out instead, and it's not as nice. I did have to sand the inside since I did damage the inside of the mag a little bit. But as you can see, it's still a lot of material there. It's pretty thick. So when I went through and did it again, I started out trying to make them square edged. You don't need to make them square edged on the sides. I found out that if I just went through and I just pushed the Dremel down on it, the important part is that the top is square, not that the rest is. And it works great. There's not a problem with it. They feed wonderful. They feed first strikes as well. I think they're great mags. Mostly what encouraged me to do this is that one of my teammates kind of quit the game, and he gave me his TPX. And so I took a stock TPX and I basically broke it down as small as I could. I took the front rail off, and I've noticed that even without the screws, that's not going to go anywhere. I tried yanking out without anything in here. I've shot, I don't know, I probably shot out 30 CO2s in the backyard. It does spread apart a little bit, but even so, the front rim here is making sure that that thing is not coming out. There's that inner cage, and it's not going anywhere. Rounded this out. I had problems getting it holstering it for a long time. Holster's great now, not a problem whatsoever. Ground on a front grip. I mean, the grip's much smaller than my T9 that I swear by, but I've never been a fan of how deep the grip was. So grinding that front bit off helped quite a bit. I thought about doing it back too and putting a little bit of shelf here, but I think it actually fits my hand pretty good right now. And that's pretty much it. I did the ground out the bottom here because I couldn't stand it being there. I mean, if I put the regular mag in, it looks a little funny now because it doesn't line up properly anymore. I mean, it'll still work just fine, but it's got a little extra space. But one thing's nice is if you put the 8 round SMG mag in there, I kind of like how it hangs out. It's a good look. You can see, I actually like how it looks quite a bit. And these mags are nice. I thought about putting a lanyard on each of them with a little lucky charm or something like that. Our team is kind of has a samurai thing about it, and I lived in Japan for about 8 years, and I thought about putting parts of traditional prayers on them or something, just for something interesting. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyways, I hope I've not rambled too much and that you enjoy this, and it's been somewhat useful to you. Again, if I ever do these in the future, I'll use a better camera and not my cell phone. But I was asked to make it, and it is what it is. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.